Yes. Hello? Testing. Okay, okay. Great. Shabbat Shalom to everyone on this very special Shabbat where we honor our students in the course of our service for having completed their first year of studies, some more than 1 year, but certainly completing this academic year in which they've accomplished so much, and we'll talk more about that a little later. We're going to commence our service with the blessing over the candles on page 120, and to honor our teachers. Unfortunately, Rachel Neese, who is also on our faculty, is not able to be here this evening, but we're going to call on Maggie and Heidi to light the Shabbat candles. Page 120. Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Amen.
We continue now on page 124. Let us read responsively to welcome not only the spirit of Shabbat, but to really focus on getting into that proper state of mind in which our hearts and our minds turn to God and focus on those things in life that are truly important. Page 124 in the middle of the page, responsively. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. We're going to continue now with Ma Yafeh Hayom. How beautiful is this day, how beautiful this evening is, as we welcome the Shabbat. Page 128, Ma Yafeh Hayom.
Shabbat shalom,
And we continue now with a rousing Lecha Dodi. We welcome our beloved bride, the bride to which we engaged for 24 hours. The bride here is the mystical Shabbat, Lecha Dodi, page 138 and page 139. We chant the first two verses, and then on verse 9 we will rise.
לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמענו איך מיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמור תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מחשבה במחשבה תגלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, בני בני שבת נקבלה.
Entrance.
ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחו ובצהלה.
And before we turn to the Chatzi Kaddish and the Baruch Hu, let us join in preparation for those two beautiful prayers. Page 145 in the middle of the page. Let us join together. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer. Page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. Page 144, the Chatzi Kaddish, and when that's completed, we rise for the Baruch Hu.
Amen.
rise for the Baruch Hu, page 146. And we remain standing now for the Shema, and that may be found on page 152 and page 153. The Shema and the Baruch Shem, the deepest declaration of our faith and commitment to God and our service to God.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We continue now with the V'ahavta, page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשתות מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Let us join now in the English, page 154, together in the middle of the page. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue now with the Mi Chamocha, page 158. Page 161 at the top of the page together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Ata Adonai, haborei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, and over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And let us continue in our prayers, page 163, a thought. And together, a thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song in the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. The Vishamru, page 162. reading by Rabbi Nachman of Wroclaw. Every word of one's prayer should be like a rose that is picked from a bush. One gathers rose upon rose until a bouquet is formed and can be offered to God as a beautiful blessing. Let us rise now for the tefillah on page 164. Page 166. Page 168. Page 170. You may be seated. We continue in silent meditation, page 172 to page 180. I haven't mentioned this before. The even number pages have the more traditional prayers that are recited in every synagogue across the world, conservative and Orthodox. And on the odd number pages are more liberal, more contemporary readings that capture the essence of the traditional prayers, but expound on them in more contemporary language. You don't need to read both pages, just one or the other, or you can combine them, of course. We continue in silent meditation. We have been so blessed to have Christopher Powell as our music director. Many of you do not know, but he also composes music as well. And we are just so delighted and so really blessed to have had you here. And you will continue on in a different capacity, but we are so blessed. And he would now have asked him to play one of his own compositions. And let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. Meditation on Salto. There are a few times in a religious service where we should applaud, but that was certainly one of them. Beautiful, just a beautiful, beautiful piece. We've been so blessed to have had both you and Demi here.
We were blessed too. Thank you.
We're going to continue with the Misha Berach prayer, page 371.
Source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
And we pray for the healing of Rhoda Bennett, Harold Fink, Mark Schoenfeld, Glory Weisberg, Valerie Zimmerman, Judy Stein, David Cherniak, Harry Appelman, Phyllis Feibelman, Dr. John Johnson, Mark and Hetty Blinderman, Elise Zeman, Callie Wheeler, Jennifer and Amy Sundberg, Pam Fisher, Nicholas Kazansis, Mike Thornton, Bettina Prager, a dear friend of mine who wishes to be anonymous. And now I open it up to the congregation for you to say or to say to yourself the names of people who are in need of healing.
Elizabeth Morales, my husband Michael, my friend who was for 3 hours, and my son, Terry.
Thank you. Patricia, did you?
My sister,
Thank you.
Mary Harry.
Thank you. Yes, dear.
Martha Adams, Paula Phillips.
Go online now. Oh, and please, yeah, did you in the back, Joshua or Sherry? Did you? Oh, okay.
It started somewhere between a cuddle and a struggle. It's the side hug.
In celebration, we have observed this past week the following birthdays. Ron Berman, Ariella Bloom, Dana Handmaker, Elsa Simon, David Rose, and Richard Rose, of course, Ryan and Ryan Small. And May anniversaries include Christine Norris and Darren Glassbrook, congratulations. And a few days ago, Amy and Michael Holberg. So congratulations. Yes. Let's see. Yes, it's not on the list. We'll have to add you on the list. Well, today we want to wish all of you, of course, Ben, the Blooms, a very happy anniversaries, as the Holbergs and the Glassbrooks. Once again, Mazal Tov to all of you. Okay, let's get to the reason why we're here tonight. No, there will not be a sermon. And the reason there is not going to be a sermon is because that sermon has been given really by everyone these past 9 months. These past nine months, I will say, for Maggie and I have been so rich and so rewarding in terms of the students that we have in our religious school. They have just been remarkable in terms of their attendance, in terms of their participation, and in terms of their desire to learn. I did some checking on data, and of course, sometimes, attendance can wane and so forth, but the data shows that we averaged an average attendance of 83%, which many times we had 100%. Now, of course, there were times with regards to weather and people's schedules and so forth, but that is really a credit not only to the students and their commitment, but is really a credit to all of the parents who made this kind of a commitment to the program. We covered a wide range of topics in terms of the religious school. We covered Passover, we covered repentance, we covered forgiveness, we covered tzedakah, we covered prayer, we covered Zionism, and we covered the Shoah just this past Sunday. And there were others, other topics that we covered in the course of 9 months. We just simply laid or really built on the foundation of my predecessor, Patricia Silverman, who really did such outstanding work in the course of the years dealing with COVID and all of the challenges that went with that. So we were building on foundations of previous educational directors and previous congregational efforts and those students who kept the religious school going since 1844. So we have much to be proud of. But again, the religious school would not have had the success that it had. And what was most significant really to Maggie and I, and I'm leading up to the gifts that we're about to present, was that the students and parents midway through the program wanted a class in Hebrew. Now that's much easier said than done, because Hebrew requires an every week commitment. You just can't learn Hebrew once every 2 weeks. It's just not going to work. And the students who participated, there were 3 of them out of the 7 who came regularly, who were really formed a part of our school, 3 of whom were a little bit too young, but I'll come to that in just a moment. We had one who was studying for his bar mitzvah that we just celebrated, who also wanted on his own to engage in that class and to learn how to read and to understand Hebrew. So that class has been going on for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And we owe you, Maggie, a real debt of gratitude for that work. So part of the gifts that you're about to receive, 2 of them the one gift is personal. It's personal for Maggie and I in recognition of all the hard work, and also to establish the curriculum for next year in hopes that you will continue. So what we're going to give you tonight is going to be in part the curriculum for next year. And we want to emphasize next year prayer. So no, we didn't get you this prayer book. We got you the same prayer book, but without the transliteration. So you can't look to the left to see, did you pronounce the words correctly? So that's going to be part of our curriculum. I see the students are laughing because they know exactly what I'm talking about here. But you have earned it. You have really earned that gift. And so both Maggie and I offer that to you personally in our deepest appreciation for what you have done and what you will do next year. So without any further ado, I'd like to acknowledge first our teachers, and that is Rachel Neese, who unfortunately could not be here tonight, but we got beautiful gifts for everyone from the gift shop, courtesy of the congregation, and deep, deep appreciation. And Amy, I want to thank you so much for helping us to put that all together. Amy runs the gift shop and the generosity of the temple. So first, I'm going to ask the two teachers who are here. We have, as you know, we have 7 students enrolled and we have 3 teachers. So one thing we can say is that we have the best teacher to student ratio in the country. I don't think anyone can beat our teacher to student ratio. So I'm going to ask Heidi and Maggie to come forward. We'd like to make a presentation, and then we're going to call on each student to come up, and we're going to present you with not only the certificate of achievement, but with the books that I've described. For the younger children who, well, we took that into account that maybe they're not quite ready for this book. We got you a special prayer book specifically designed to help you learn next year for kindergarten and for first graders. So first, so this is a Tree of Life tzedakah box for your art studio.
All right, thank you.
And I know sometimes you have students, and maybe they can also make donations
Donations.
to
Perfect.
the tzedakah of
Sweet.
your
Thank
choice.
you. That's beautiful. Thank you.
And there was, Heidi, we know that you are an author, that you've written some novels, and that you have a blog where you do many book reviews. She recently completed a book review of Roy Hoffman's most recent book. And as we were looking for an appropriate gift, we have one of his books entitled Alabama Afternoons. That is in the gift shop. And we asked Roy to sign it, but unfortunately his schedule didn't allow for that. But he has promised in writing that when he gets back that he will personalize this for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna get that one. So as I call on each of the students' names, I'll ask you all to come up and to, no, you stay. Because we want the teachers really to make the presentations. Heidi in particular had one student that we'll come to in just a moment. Let's begin. These are not in any particular order. I'm going to ask Addison Hall to come forward. And at the end of everybody coming up, we'll ask you then to hold your applause for their wonderful achievements.
Addison, you did such an incredible job for such a short period of time. Don't be embarrassed. You did fantastic. And I hope that you enjoy this prayer book. And if you do come to services, bring it with you too, because you'll be able to follow along. And your certificate is already framed, so all you have to do is put it on the wall, all right? So enjoy, you've earned it. Mazal tov.
Yes, stay here.
Stay here too.
Okay. The next person we want to call up is Mayim Bloom, our official Aleinu ark opener.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Mayim, this is your very special prayer book that we're going to use next year in school. And this is your certificate of achievement. It's all framed. I hope you put that on your wall because you did so well this year. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next year. So you stay here. Stay here. Julianne came to so many of the talks with her dad and with her mom, and we're so grateful to have you in our program. So here you go. This is yours, and this is your certificate of achievement. I heard from one parent, the reason we framed them was because we're told that if you don't frame them, they tend to end up in the scrap heap. So we're trying to have some insurance against that, so we decided to frame them because we're so proud of our students. The next student that we want to call is Jackson Hall. Would you come forward? Thank you so much. I don't normally allow photographs during a service, but at the end of this, if you'd like to take some photographs, you may. Jackson, you've been such a great student. This is yours, and this is your certificate of achievement for all that you've done this year. Thank you so much. You've been a terrific student. And I want to call Mayor Briskman. Mayor?
Mayor, you have done a fantastic job. Mayor even attended one time in the car driving, I don't know where he was driving to or from, but he attended school even in the car. I was very impressed. So that's your prayer book. Be sure you bring it to class when we study. And that's
Spoken
where
like
you're
a true
welcome.
teacher.
Great job.
Good, you go back to that. The next person that we want to honor is Violet Glassbrook. Please come forward, Violet. This is a very special one because I have to confess my weakness. I am not a good Hebrew teacher. I'm one of these read line 1, read line 2, read line 3. I started with Violet because she approached me in July, the very first service I did, and she said she wanted to learn Hebrew. We began our studies shortly thereafter, maybe a month after. She came religiously every week to study privately, and then I knew I had a better teacher. I'm going to turn that over to Heidi now.
Thank you, Rabbi. Violet, I have had the privilege of studying with you over the past several weeks, and you have done just an incredible job. Violet has actually graduated out of our initial primer and is actually studying out of the same book the adults use in the Tuesday adult Hebrew class. You show an incredible dedication to your studies, and I look forward to working with you over the summer as you continue with me. You really bring a dedication and a maturity to your work with me, and it's just wonderful. So here is your prayer book and your certificate, and thank you so much.
Thank you. And finally, last but not least, I'll quote Connor. This is really a remarkable story because he was preparing for his bar mitzvah. And he really didn't need to learn Hebrew. We were studying the transliteration, which we'll do depending upon the student's level of Hebrew as they begin their bar mitzvah studies. And he heard about the Hebrew class. He wants to become fluent, I understand, in Hebrew, so we may have to adjust the budget in the years to come to get get an Israeli to work with him. But you decided 6 weeks to go before his bar mitzvah that we all heard that he wanted to learn Hebrew. And he started with Aleph Bet, and I'm going to let Maggie take this over.
No, you should.
Well, so we were studying the Torah reading from a transliteration. We began that. And by the end, and at his bar mitzvah, he was reading from the Torah. It wasn't from a transliteration, it wasn't from memorization. And the way I know that, number one, is Connor is very honest when I asked him, and he said, yes, I'm actually reading. And number two, the proof, the evidence was that the pointer was on each word, the correct word in the Torah as he was pronouncing it. And he waited until the pointer was on the word, and then he would recite. And so that's an incredible amount of dedication. And to all of you, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. May you go from strength to strength, and may these books inspire you to be really good people and to connect with God. I want to say a short blessing and then ask for I ask the congregation to applause. If parents would like to take a photograph, you should feel free to do so for while everybody is up here. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and may God guard you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May God shine God's countenance unto you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Pretty soon you'll be able to do that just as easily as I do that. And may God lift up God's presence unto you and give you all peace and wholeness of life. And let us say, Amen. I want to let's give them all a round of applause for their achievement. And we're going to take a few photographs.
Okay.
Come on, Patricia, we need your guiding hands here.
Should we move over?
You want me with the boys? You want me back this way? Okay. Okay.
Is that better?
All right, smiles, guys. 1, 2, 3, see door.
Smile.
Everybody's here. What a lovely
You can all stay here. You're going to open the ark. Would you like to stay here for the opening of the ark? Mayan, would you like to press the button? And then I'm going to have Juliet close it, okay? We're going to continue with the Aleinu. Maestro?
It's great.
Our soprano and alto, please. You may be seated. This week we observed the yard sites of Fran Brown Karen Koppelman, Elsa Keller-Lewis, Sylvia Rose, Milton F. Rubel, and Jay Melamuth. Is there anyone observing a yard site or saying Kaddish for someone who they wish to remember? Thank you. Great.
Last week,
Thank you.
Dr. Porter, Lieutenant Brady,
Now we turn to the people on Zoom. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links generations one to another, let us all rise and join in the recitation of the Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hidute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ule'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. V'oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who establisheth peace unto the heavens, grant peace and comfort for all who mourn, and let us say, Amen. You may be seated. We're going to conclude our service very shortly. I know people are hungry. In honor of our students, they created the menu, and we're having pizza and vegetarian lasagna, courtesy of the Furmans. So we're going to have a shortened Kiddush. I'm going to recite Kiddush, a brief one tonight, because I know we're all hungry, and over here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri harafem. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in song together, as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We want to acknowledge the people on Zoom who are with us virtually. Shirley Boyd, Mel and Odette Sternberg, Harold and Emily Fink, Leonard Wells, Marion Birkin, Steve Malfelder, Barry Silverman, Ann Zelniker, Larry Miller, Diane and Richard Frank, Milton and Margaret Brown, Karen and Himath Singh, Martha and Ray Adams, and James Perry. We're going to conclude our service. Once again, we want to thank Demi and Molly and Chris for just making our services so very, very beautiful. And I want to thank the parents. Tonight we had 100% attendance, and it says a lot about these families that have made such a great commitment to to our religious school and fulfilling the mitzvah of Vishinantam Levanecha, and you shall teach your children. We conclude with complex song. You don't need a page number. Bim Bam.
It's very complex, so everyone should attempt to sing along.
Right?
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Ya la la ya la la. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. La 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 la. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Please join us for a Kiddush Oneg featuring Domino's Pizza and vegetarian lasagna, courtesy of the Furmans.